Welcome to Dangerous Dishes. Today we're going to be making seafood lasagna. I'm Italian. I love to cook. This is my kitchen. And all my friends and family love to come over and eat anything pretty much that I make, which is kind of funny. But I'm always in the kitchen and I always like doing things that I love, and this is my peace of mind space. So I thought I would share this recipe with you. It's something that I do sometimes a few times a year, but lately it's been popular with my friends and family, so they've been asking for it a lot more, even though we're coming into the spring. Usually it's something that we do around the holidays, but it's a little pricey, but at the same time, it's also something that's fun, and I love to feed people and make them happy. So if it makes them happy, what the hell, feed them. Anyways, if you like my channel, I'd love for you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notifications when I put a new video up. I'm going to be doing all kinds of different dishes, everything from Italian food to Indian food, Oriental, Chinese, you name it. I like to cook all kinds of stuff. We're going to be doing baking. I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks about how to keep your produce fresh, and I just want to visit with you every day and let's see what we can do together. So I hope you like my video, and let's get started. First things first, ingredients. Okay, so first things first, if we're gonna make seafood lasagna, we're gonna need a lot of seafood. So first things is I have these really incredible big jumbo, they're like colossal large shrimps, and this is about 1.5 pounds. That's what I normally put in mine. Then we also have some lump crab meat that's fresh, and I actually get this from a company that's called Seafood, All Fresh Seafood is where it is. And I love their products. They come fresh, they package it the same day and they ship it out, and it lasts in your refrigerator for like 6 months because they have like this way that they do it. I love it. And they always put a best by date on it. In addition to that, I've got lobster tails that I'm going to be using for the lobster part of this. And what I like to do is I like to buy this from Lobster Anywhere. And they're incredible. I mean, they have the most incredible lobsters. They ship them out. This is 1 pound, and as you can see, these are actual tails that are already shucked, and that's how they come to you in a package, so it's really great. You can also get, claw meat and other stuff like that from them, or even from All Fresh Seafood. I'm not sponsored by either one of these companies, but I absolutely love their products, and I buy them constantly, and it's the best way to get shipped seafood fresh. And I live in Tennessee, so I'm in Nashville area, so it's great. But that's kind of how I like to do it. In addition to that, we're gonna need our lasagna, because we're making lasagna, so we're gonna need our lasagna noodles, and I've already got those prepped and cooked ahead of time. I like to try to pre-prep everything so that when I start rolling, I don't have to stop. So as you can see behind me right here, I've got a pan that I've already cooked all my lasagna noodles in, and then what I like to do is I like to take them and lay them flat between just wet paper towels, and it keeps them from getting sticky, and then when you're ready to assemble your lasagna, it's just fresh, easy, and it's just a simple way to deal with it. That way you're not trying to deal with it when it's all hot and everything's in your hands and it's all messy. It's already messy when you're making lasagna any kind. So this is just a process that just keeps it rolling, and it's easy for me. In addition to that, I have the ricotta mixture is the second part of this recipe. It's gonna be cut up in 3 sections. First, the seafood, and I'll show you how to cut and prep all that and how to season it. And then the next thing is gonna be our ricotta mixture. And what I like to do with that is I obviously need ricotta, which we have, lovely. And I'm gonna use a lot of this because I like to make my lasagna really thick. In addition to that, I'm gonna be putting some garlic paste in it because it actually flavors it. I don't just like regular ricotta that doesn't have any flavor. I like to put spices in it and different things. So in addition to that, I've got some basil and I've got some parsley. As you can see with my basil and my parsley, I have them in these glass jars or actually they're just glass containers, like cups, like 8-ounce cups or whatever they are. But anyways, I like to take them, and when I bring them home from the grocery store, what I like to do is I cut each of the stems off in a 45-degree angle, and I put them in the jar, in the glasses, and I put fresh filtered water in them so that they're not chlorinated water coming out of your tap. And it just makes them stay fresh longer, and I keep them on my windowsill. So there's always fresh herbs on my windowsill, so when I need them, I just grab them and go. But as you can see, I've already prepped my basil, and the same thing with my parsley. And then in addition to that, I'm gonna have to do the next section of this stuff after we get done with that is gonna be our cheese and making our roux. and getting everything cooked. So what I like to do for my bechamel sauce is basically I'm gonna need some butter and some flour, which I've already got sectioned out here. And then when I'm cooking my sauce, I put a lot of fresh garlic in it, which as you can see right here, I've got a lot of fresh garlic that's already sitting here in this container. It's a glass container with one of the snap-on lids, and it keeps it airtight. So when I stick it in my refrigerator, I don't have to worry about it going bad. And it stays fresher longer, and it's a lot easier to deal with. And then same thing is if I have onions to do, which I'm gonna put a little bit of onion in this as well. So I've got my onions already pre-cut, and then I've already diced up my garlic, got that prepped. And then in addition to that, you need cheese. You need a lot of cheese. So as you can see right here, I have my Ninja, which I absolutely love. The one thing I love is doing fresh cheeses, and I make my own blends. I don't buy anything that's in the store, that's in a bag. I like to grade my own, and the easiest way for me to do it in volume is to do it with this, but I also grade my own cheeses too. Now, when I do that though, what I like to do is, as you can see, I've already started grating a bunch of mozzarella and some Parmesan. So I've got Parmesan that I'm gonna be doing. I also have pre-done in advance my blend of Pecorino Romano, which I'm going to use a bunch of that. And then I also like to add some sharp white cheddar cheese. So I'm going to be putting that in here and grinding it up as well. But I won't have you listen to me do that. I'll do it for you. I'm just letting you know that's kind of how I handle it. So that's where we are with having our prep ready to go. So at this point, let's get started cooking. Now, as you can see, it doesn't take long to get the cheese done, which I love. And it's a fast way to do it. And then you just throw this in your dishwasher and you're good to go. Seriously. Oops, right. You can see it's really, really simple to deal with your cheese when you do it this way. So that's like I said, it comes out perfect. So I now have all my cheeses mixed together, and I put them all in one bowl because I'm just gonna mix them all together anyways when I put them into my lasagna. And you just put this in your dishwasher and it's good to go. You don't have any big deal. I mean, it makes cleanup really simple. Okay, so now we're gonna work on our seafood. First things first, shrimp. And what we're gonna do with the shrimp is we're actually going to make it where we're gonna cut it into bite-sized pieces. And I found the easiest way to deal with this is to just take the shrimp and just take it and like bend it in half like this, and then just slice it straight next, like either sides. Then you end up with perfectly bite-sized pieces for your shrimp, for your lobster. And every bite is a delicious piece of something that you're eating mixed with, you know, all your seafood bites. So it's pretty great. I love doing it this way. It's fast, it's easy, it works. And it's a nice little trick. I actually saw other people do this on TV, but I've been doing it this way for years and years and years, so it's kind of what I like doing. Now, the same thing holds true for our lobster tails. And what I like to do with these is I like to just take them and slice them down the middle, and then cut them into like bite-sized pieces, the same consistency and size, roughly about the same size as I have for my shrimp. And these two are the only things that we're gonna be worrying about cooking because they're obviously raw. I'm gonna put all of my lobster and my shrimp into the same bowl over here, and then we'll just continue to keep processing these, and then after that, then we're gonna get to cooking some of this stuff so that you can see how it's done. It's really pretty simple, and there's some spices and things that we do with it, and I'll show you. And there's a couple favorite people that I have that I bought some of their spices, one of which is Matt over at Mr. Make It Happen. I love him. He actually has a similar recipe to what I'm doing right now, but I love his spices. I'm telling you right now, they're amazing. Other than that, you need to go over to see Matt Pittman over at Meat Church too. Again, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I'm fans of them. My husband's a huge smoker and griller, and he absolutely loves Matt's spice blends, and so do I. And I just love both Matt's because they have really, really incredible spices. And I actually have my own that I'm coming out with a line of mine as well, but I really do like theirs, and I keep using them. And the one thing about Mr. Make It Happen is he's from the Washington, D.C. area, and that's where I'm originally from. And so when he starts making seafood blends and different things like that, he uses the same exact stuff that I used to use because I grew up in the Chesapeake Bay area. And so I love his spice blends. And I actually highly recommend that you go to his website and buy them. They're really very inexpensive. And he also has a brand new cookbook that's over there too. And I ordered it, and I absolutely love his meals. I watch him all the time. So he's one of my favorite people on YouTube. So I suggest that you guys go over there. Now let me go grab the spice blends and I'll show you what we're gonna do with them. Okay, so now we're gonna work on our ricotta mixture. First thing we're gonna need, ricotta. We have plenty of it. I absolutely love ricotta, but I don't like it plain. I have to zhuzh it up a little bit. So this is how I zhuzh my things up. And in addition, I forgot to tell you, we need 2 eggs in this recipe too, and they're gonna go into this ricotta. Okay, what I like to do is I always like to crack my eggs and I like to mix them in a separate bowl. That way it keeps you from getting any shells in your food. And at the same time, you know, it's all mixed well. That's always a good thing, which I prefer to have done. And then I always set them aside over here. And let's go ahead and do a fork out. Let's go ahead and mix these up. I actually use farm fresh eggs. We have a good friend of ours that works with my husband, and he brings me farm fresh eggs. So even when the whole egg crisis was happening, I had plenty of eggs. Matter of fact, I shared with my friends. So I'm gonna put ricotta mixture in here with a couple of eggs. And I just take the shells and everything else and set them off to the side. In addition to that, remember I told you I've got parsley. So we're gonna put some parsley in here because pretty much most of this is going in here for the parsley. And then at the same time, I'm also gonna be putting my basil in here that I cut up earlier. So I got that in here as well. You know what, throw the rest of it in there. I like parsley, so what the heck. Now, also, I'm gonna be adding some of this garlic paste. Now I could put some fresh garlic in it too, but I prefer to put this in it because it actually mixes well in this you know, application. So I'll do like about, maybe 2 teaspoons. Just squeeze it in there, it's fine. Also to add to this, to make it a little bit creamier, I like to add some, you know, sour cream in it. So I'll do probably about a quarter, half a cup. Somewhere around a half a cup, let's say. And then finally, instead of using, most people put Parmesan in here. I put Parmesan in my mixture with my cheese, and I mix it like Parmesan, and it's got Asiago in it, and it has mozzarella, and it's got white cheddar in it. So I do like a 5 cheese blend for mine. Sometimes a 6 cheese blend, depending on what I have in the refrigerator that I want to make. But I'll also add this into it too when I layer it. But I like to put this into my mixture. And instead of using Parmesan, I use Pecorino Romano. And I'll do probably about 2, maybe 3 handfuls. Then I'll stir it up and see what it looks like. And depending on what I like, I'll add some more. And then we'll see where we're at. But I absolutely love this. So it's gonna be a really, really great cheesy sauce. And the cheesier, the better. When I get done mixing this up, I'll show you what it looks like. That's what it looks like, mixing it up right now, just so you can get a good look at it. And of course, you know, I want it to be like this consistency. So I might add a little bit more, I don't know. I might decide to add a little bit more of something. I usually do, but I'm thinking, for right now, I think it looks good. Now I'm gonna add the spices, and I'm gonna put some in here as well as into the shrimp. So I'm gonna get them all in. I'm gonna show you exactly how we're gonna do that. Now, for our ricotta mixture, we've got it all mixed up here, and now we're gonna start adding our seasonings. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, not much, because we got enough salt that's in the seafood and everything else. Some black pepper, ground. And then these are my 2 favorites that I use. And one is Mr. Make It Happen's Lemon Bay, which is kind of got a mixture of, it's like Old Bay in it and everything else kind of mixed together. But I also add Old Bay in mine. And then I also have his all-purpose season, and it's very, very light with sodium, so you don't really have to worry about it that much, which is a good thing. But I'm kind of liberal on the spices because I like the spice, and it really does give it an amazing flavor. So I suggest that you go to his website and buy it. I mean, I'm telling you, I said I was a fan. I really am. In addition to that, I also like to add some Creole seasoning, but I like to use Tony's, and I use the no salt because I want to limit the amount of salt that's in my food. So I don't put a lot in it. I just put a little bit in it just to use it up and add to it. In addition to that, I add Old Bay, and I just like the extra hot with the Old Bay. So that's just my personal preference. And then finally, I add some Raging Cajun. I know I've got a couple different kinds of seasonings in here, but I don't know. It's just how I like to do it, and it works. And then, of course, you just mix it all up, and it just adds to the flavor. And usually it's like, I usually wait to taste it until after I put the seasonings in. Like when I put the egg in last. But truthfully, sometimes I've done it so many times that I sort of know. So normally what I would suggest to you is do all of this first, then add your, taste it, make sure the flavors are the way you want them, and then add your eggs. But like I said, I kind of like did it my own way because that's what I do. So it's fine. Anyways, and then in addition to that, what we're also going to do is we're going to season our seafood. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add just a tiny tad bit of salt, nothing major because I don't want a lot of salt in it. A little bit of ground pepper. And the same exact seasonings I put into the ricotta, I'm going to put in here so that I can go ahead and season this as well. Like I said, I'm pretty liberal with the AP season from MrMakeItHappen.com. Go to his website. Get some of this, it's perfect. And then also the lemon bay, it's so good. And I put a lot more of that than anything else. Definitely, like I said, I'm from the Chesapeake Bay area. I was born in Maryland, raised in Virginia. So Old Bay is like my go-to for everything. Love Old Bay. I love to make crab cakes and things like that. And then again, just a little bit of the Raging Cajun and the Tony's, and that's it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to this, and I'm just going to mix it all up and just let it set so it seasons it, and it just kind of like lets the flavors meld together before we start cooking it. Like I said, I like to take these seasonings and go ahead and mix everything up, and then add a little bit of olive oil to the shrimp, just enough to just coat it, and then I'm going to just mix it all up. I like to use my hands because it's your best tool God gave you. I see a lot of people use gloves. I do have gloves, but I'm constantly cleaning my kitchen the entire time that I'm doing like my cooking. So my hands are always clean. So I literally have been back and forth off camera, cleaning as I go because I don't like to have a mess when I'm left over. So anyways, like I said, we're just gonna go ahead and mix all this together and make sure it's really coated well. And we've got lots of seasonings on everything, and just let it sit here for a while so that you can like see it. Put it close for you. But you just want to make sure that everything is coated nicely. And if it's not, you see something that looks like it needs a little bit more, by all means, add it. That's what I do. People always ask me for recipes, and I'm terrible at giving you a recipe because I always taste everything, or I look at it, or I eye it, and I'm like telling people, hey, just add a little bit of this, get a little bit more of that. It's like right now, it's like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I need a little bit more AP on this, and I need a little bit more Old Bay. So I'm adding it. That's how it works. I mean, I'm a real cook. That's what I do. I've been doing this for years, so it's my favorite thing to do, and I just kind of do it my own way. But as you can see, it's getting nice and coated, and everything is like totally mixed together, because you want to make sure you season this really well, because when you cook it, this is what's going to start everything in the pan that's going to end up making your bechamel sauce, and it's going to be amazing. So you've got to make sure that you got it really seasoned well. Not that I'm not going to add more seasonings to the bechamel sauce too, because we're going to do that as well. But just saying, that's how we roll here. That's why my husband's always like, well, I love that you cook well. I was like, okay, glad that you're glad. Anyways, so next up, we're going to start cooking this, and I'll be right back. All right, so now we're gonna start cooking our shrimp. First thing we're gonna do, get a skillet. I like to use my Hexclad. My husband bought it for me. Great gift. I have the whole set. I love them. He's a good dude. Anyways, I started out with olive oil, and I'm gonna work this on like a medium heat and put a couple tablespoons of olive oil in there first. And then we're gonna start adding our shrimp into it, which just, you know, little by little. And our our shrimp and our avocado. I mean, excuse me, our shrimp and our lobster. What am I saying avocado for? I'm thinking about eating avocado. So our goal here is just to like go ahead and get it pretty much cooked almost all the way through. But what we want to do is just get some color on it. And it's going to cook the rest of the way when it's in the oven, but I like to cook it at least, you know, get the pink on it and make it to where it's, you know, a good color. You don't have to worry about it and you know it's at least cooked. And if you notice, I'm using like a spoon, spatula, whatever. That's the thing I love about this pan is that you can use hard utensil things like this with it. It doesn't scratch, which is great. So, like I said, we're just going to let this cook for a couple minutes, and as soon as we get some color on these, then we're going to go ahead and put them in a different bowl, and then we're going to add our crab meat to it, and we're going to mix it all together, and then we're going to add a little bit more spices to it, because why the hell not? And that's where we're going to go next. So, like I said, just keep cooking this for a while. Make sure everything is pretty much cooked about 70, 60, let's say about 75% through. And this is also going to start the flavoring with what's left over when we take this out of the pan. All this is going to leave the flavoring. What's here is going to be what's going to start our bechamel sauce, and that's going to be amazing because that's what's really going to put it together. And once we do that, then all it is a matter of layering everything and building it and then baking it and eating it. And then that's where we get happy. And you can see it's starting to get pretty much cooked, not all the way through, but it's getting like pretty close. You're going to end up with this really great sauce that's already being made in the bottom of it. And like I said, then we're just going to mix it in with our crab meat, add a little bit more spice to this crab meat, season it, and then we start making it a bechamel sauce. Okay, pretty close. I got a couple pieces here that just need a little bit more flavor, a little bit more cooking on them. Yep. All right. Now we're just going to take our slotted spoon and we're just going to start putting it into, you want to keep all the juices in the bottom of this. So you just want to kind of take your seafood, drain it, keep as much of this juice in the bottom of it because this is where all your flavor is going to go that makes that sauce. And once I get all this out, I'm going to show you exactly how it's going to look when we start doing the sauce. I'm going to let you see every step by step on that. But I'm actually going to like bring the camera over here so you can look down and watch it go on. So, like I said, just keep taking it out, and then once we're done, we'll start on the sauce. All right, so now we've got all of our stuff out of here, and we're going to add some butter because butter makes everything better. So, first things first, add some butter in here. At the same time, I'm going to add my garlic that I already cut up. I'm going to put just enough garlic, not a whole ton of it, but enough. And I'm going to put some onion in it. And then we'll let these cook down. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're just going to let this meld with seasonings that we already had in here. We're just going to let it cook down. Soften the onions and get the garlic nice and soft. Then we're just going to add that. And we're going to make the roux out of this. It's going to be really good. But we're going to also use some better than bouillon lobster base, which I'm not going to use a ton of it because it's got a lot of salt and sodium in it, so you really don't want to use a ton of it. But I just want enough to where you can get a good, like, it kind of, as I say, zhuzhes up stuff. Gives it like an extra bit of that seafood taste to your sauce. And then we're going to thicken it up, make a roux out of it. But right now, I've got the fire sort of on a medium heat right now. Just going to let these cook for just a couple more minutes, just so they get nice and soft and translucent. And you just want to keep stirring it because you definitely don't want to burn your butter and you don't want to burn your garlic. So I just like to take my time. It smells amazing in here, I can tell you that. This is actually going to be a really easy way to make this bechamel sauce, and you'll see it come together pretty shortly. Okay, to that I'm going to add just like a teaspoon of, like I said, the lobster, better than bouillon lobster. I'm just going to keep putting that in here and melt it together. I'm going to add a little bit, like just a couple tablespoons of flour, just, you know, enough to thicken it. You don't want it to be like too thick, but you want to like definitely cook off that flour taste. Let it just sit here and cook for a while because it's going to need it for just a couple minutes. And you see it still has a little bit more to it. You just let it cook like that for a couple minutes. Then we're going to add the heavy cream, which when I was giving you the stuff that we needed to add to our recipe earlier, I do believe I forgot the heavy cream, but you can't make a bechamel sauce without heavy cream. I'm just going to slowly add it, keep stirring everything in the pan, thicken it up. And keep the fire up for just a hair while we just let it start to boil a little bit, but we're not going to get in a hard boil. And then we're just going to turn it down, and we're going to add our cheese back to it. So I'm going to put some more pecorino romano and some Parmesan in it. And that's basically a little bit of spice. We'll taste it. We need to add some more spices to it. We will. And that, my friends, is how we're going to make the best bechamel sauce ever. See, you see it starting to thicken up. But I'm just going to let it stay high so it just gets like a really nice boil going. I just like to keep adding it little by little. That way it just continues to just keep cooking. It just tastes really good that way. And you can see it's sort of got the coloring of the seafood mixture that we cooked in it, which is actually pretty cool. I'm telling you, it's really good and it tastes good. I actually end up using probably about a quart to make this because I always make way more than I need, but I end up using it. And the thing that's kind of cool about it is it'll continue to thicken, like when it's, you know, bubbling and stuff. You just let it bubble for a couple minutes and then keep stirring it. And then what will happen is when you turn it off and it's all cooked and ready to go, it'll keep thickening itself. So it'll go in nicely into your lasagna. It'll work perfect. But you can see right now we've still got a ways to go. So we're gonna let that cook, and I'll show you just a couple seconds from now when it gets a little thicker. Now you can see it's starting to bubble up, which is great. Now we're gonna add our cheese into it. Reduce the heat a little bit. Bring it back down so you don't want to burn it. And we're gonna add the cheese to it. Again, I'm using pecorino romano. People can use Parmesan, use whatever your fancy flavor is, but I just found that this actually works better for me, and I absolutely love it, so it's what I use. But do what you want. Parmesan, pecorino romano, it's all good, we don't care. Whatever makes it taste good to you, makes it good for me. As you can see, you just keep mixing it in and it just keeps getting thicker. This is a great sauce. It's very easy to make and it's got lots of flavor. And there you go. Now we're almost finished with this, and once we get to like where it gets totally down to where we want it, like I said, just keep stirring it. And as you can see, it's getting a thickness to it. You don't want it too thick. You just want it to be pretty much about that consistency. Let everything just cook down for a couple more minutes, and that's it. If you need a little slap, a little bit more, you know, sometimes you need to thin it out a little bit, just add a little bit more heavy cream in it. But this is where I like to taste it. That's good. That's real good. I think it needs just a little bit more Old Bay in it though. So I'm gonna add a little bit more Old Bay. And I'm gonna add a little bit more AP seasoning. And a little bit more Lemon Bay. And I think that should pretty much about do it. And it should be perfect. Yeah, the color's looking better. Yeah, this is the color you kind of want it to be. Like sort of like, how about just a hair of that, like, I guess sort of like an orangey color, but not really. Just got a little hue to it. But make sure you just keep stirring and let the seasonings like meld with it. And then again, taste it and see how it tastes to you. And if you feel like you need to add some more, add more. Again, it's up to your flavor, whatever you want. But this is just a guide for you to follow. Yeah, now see how perfect that is? It's got that nice consistency. That's perfect now. All right, let's get on with it. We're gonna put all this together and make a lasagna out of it. All right, so here we are. We've got our noodles. We've got all of our other stuff ready to go. Bechamel sauce is ready. Seafood mixture is ready. And our ricotta and our cheese. So as we said, this is a 3-part mixture. So these are all done and you've got your cheese and your noodles ready to go. First things first, we're gonna start out. We're gonna put some bechamel sauce down on the bottom. Try not to make a mess. If you do, do what I do. Just lick it off your finger. Anyways, let me get a spoon in here. Always be prepared. So like I said, I'm just going to take a mixture of this. I'm just going to layer it down on the bottom just to give it something for the noodles and stuff to stick to. And I'm using a 9x13 pan. And basically, you can see it's got a nice creamy mixture to it. Nice and thick. I always like to take it and just take the spatula and go across it as well. Give it like a nice lay down. Okay, next we're going in with our noodles. So we've got our noodles here, and I actually go 4 across. I mean, you can overlay them, it doesn't matter. And I just want to make sure that they're all totally, all the way across. So you cover the whole pan. All right, so as you can see, we are now finished with the lasagna. I'm going to throw this in a 350-degree oven for about 35 to 45 minutes or until it's bubbly and golden brown. Sometimes it takes a little longer, like around 55 to 60 minutes, but I just keep an eye on it. And I also put a tray underneath this so that if it does bubble and it happens to spill over, it doesn't wreck my oven. So that's a good tip. So we'll be back when this is done and I'll show you what it looks like. And then we're going to taste it. And here we are. This is the finished product out of the oven. Oh my goodness. I told you need to see bubbly, yummy. All the pieces of lobster and shrimp are all on top. Now you need to let this set for at least 15 minutes for it to set up. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the taste test. It looks so good and it smells amazing. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Well, now we are going in for the taste test. I think it's going to be amazing. Matter of fact, I know it is because I've eaten it several times. I'm not saying I just don't like my own cooking, but I really do like my own cooking. And my friends do too. So let's put this on a plate and see what happens. So now let's dig in. Look at all these cheesy layers. And let's see what we got. Oh my goodness, this looks so good and it smells amazing. Lots of pieces of like seafood in it. Oh my God, that's good. It's just filled with cheese and big pieces of seafood. Oh my goodness, I have to go in for a second bite. This is hands down something you need to try to make. I'm telling you. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know something you want me to make. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to let you know what I do differently, how it is. But I'd suggest that you make this for yourself because it's amazing. It's really amazing. But it's tempting, but it's not something you want to eat every day, but trust me. Make this for your friends and family, and I trust that they're going to keep asking you for more. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And excuse me for being like a pig here, but I love this. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Catch me on the next video. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.